Okay, and we're here. We are live. Chat, let us know how we're sounding. Let me get us rolling over here. Boom. Well, here we'll do this. That's better. Okay. All right. What is up, my dudes? Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. We have Bones. If you want to introduce yourself, Bones, and tell them who you are and why you're the biggest SIG defender that has ever lived.
These are false accusations. I am no SIG defender. This is Bones Maloney of the Bones Maloney YouTube channel. I make only the most unfathomably based educational gun content that people don't talk about. That's me. I am here with Trench to yap on this Thursday afternoon, have a good time, talk about some happenings, and we're doing it live.
Do it live. I was gonna say the whole thing. Yeah. So, yeah, make sure you guys check out his channel. What we're gonna be doing tonight, we're gonna start off. We're gonna read some very educational, informative comments on the GBRS SIG video on the new 2011, or what they're calling the P211. That is the greatest, 6 times more reliable than a Staccato XC. It's the greatest 2011 to ever be created. To the point where they said they couldn't make the compensator properly, and they also stated that they couldn't. It was the compensator first, so they had to make the compensator out of what is it, MIM, basically, 3D
It's
printed.
3D printed, is what they
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
So right off the bat, they admit that they couldn't make the compensator properly, and that is 3D printed. And then earlier on, one of my commenters actually told me this, that they also admitted that the trying to see something here. That the what was I going to say? The trigger mechanism. They had problems early on with the trigger mechanism. Now, what's interesting about SIG's track record is anytime SIG openly admits that, yeah, we had a little bit of issues with the trigger early on, that may or may not be ideal for the consumer. What are your thoughts on that,
Yeah, I
Bones?
mean, SIG is notorious for not having things be drop safe. In 1911s or 2011s or their derivatives are also notoriously not drop safe. And when SIG is openly saying, "Yeah, we had some trouble with this 1911 trigger," it concerns me. It's cause for concern, I would say.
Right.
Um, so yeah, and then I don't know much about manufacturing. I'm not. That's not what I do. I'm not familiar with it, so I don't know how hard it is to design a muzzle device. And 3D printing a muzzle device, which is probably one of the parts of the gun that takes the most abuse, is a muzzle device. I'm curious to see if that'll hold up. I don't know really much about 3D printing metal, but some interesting claims so far.
Right. I mean, the breech face, the firing pin, the connection on the rails where the slide actually reciprocates, where all the FUDs will always say, it feels like metal ball bearings. It's so smooth on any time they ever touch a
Okay.
2011, right? But yeah, so right off the bat, not a good look. So just to give everyone, I guess, a rundown, as we're starting to get guys in here, reminder: hit the like button, as that's going to tell more like-minded people to join the stream. So as we get in here, to sum up this video, GBRS basically says, I think Cole specifically and Max Michel specifically state that it's 6 times more reliable than any other 2011 because it takes the 320 magazines. Now, I have had issues with the 320 magazines, specifically more issues with the 320 magazines over a Beretta magazine, which is surprising because notoriously Berettas normally have more issues, right? Specifically with sand.
Hmm.
And I would even put them up there, I would put them above a Staccato mag, but I would not refer to them as the most reliable mag in the world.
Definitely odd to be like, yes, the magazine makes this gun really reliable. I had the only magazines I've ever really had problems with are Magpul P mags for pistols, but those have been few and far between. But it's definitely a weird point to be like, this is so reliable because of its magazine. It's like, oh, okay, I guess that's okay. Does it even make the gun reliable because the magazines? I don't know. It's just a very odd like way to draw those two things together.
I think what they were trying to say is, hey, the Staccato HD takes Glock mags, right? The metal Glock mags. And I think the point that they were trying
Hmm.
to make is, hey, our gun takes our 320 magazine, so it's already tested and proven. But given the climate of SIG right now, given the climate on the internet regarding SIG, I think it is a pretty crazy statement to come out and say, yep, this gun, even though we had issues bringing it to market, we couldn't make the muzzle device properly. We had issues with the trigger mechanism. But hey, with all that being said, it's the most reliable. It's 6 times more. Not only is it the most reliable 2011 on the market, is what they're saying, is what specifically Max Michel is saying. Okay, I guess their new.
Where does that?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, you're good.
I want to be very clear. Up until I think 12 hours ago, I had no idea who Max Michel was at all. Right? I watched the Ben Steger video. I
Yeah.
watched the SIG video, or the SIG release, which was super cringe. I think they called it hype or something, which was super cringe. And
The Sig
then
hype. Yeah.
yeah, so the SIG hype was super cringe, and then this, of course, right? This ad piece that we're looking at here. What was your point?
I just want to know where does the metric 6 times more reliable come from? Because it's like I'm not even. That's like an. It sounds like an advertising buzzword. Like it's 6 times more reliable than other 2011s. But like I would be interested. Where are you pulling this number from? Are you saying for every time a staccato has a malfunction, every 6 staccato malfunctions, this firearm has one? Are you what are you comparing it to? It's just it's a nothing term. It doesn't actually really mean anything if you don't have any numbers behind it.
So one thing we know, and I completely agree. One thing we know about SIG is they have tested the 320 since all the issues, right? They claim they show
Hmm.
crazy testing procedures that they put the gun through. I do not believe at all that SIG bought staccatos, that SIG bought a bunch of platypuses, right, or prodigies,
Hmm.
and actually tested them. My level, like the press X to doubt level, increases dramatically, and you're 100% right. I don't think, excuse me, I don't think they tested them at all. And if they did, you're 100% right. Where are you getting this 6 times, 600% more
Hmm.
reliable? Does that mean every 1,000 rounds, if you were going to have zero malfunctions, now you have -6? Like, because I can tell you, being
Yeah,
a
yeah.
being a staccato owner, having shot and competed and blah blah blah, pedigree, having shot a ton of rounds, I think over 10,000 rounds through my C2. I'm telling you that once you get to the 400 or 600 round mark anyway, you want to relubricate or clean the guns because they start to get sluggish, right? So
Hmm.
I don't know, the doubt level immediately with this video is extremely high, right? Um,
Yeah, it just seems like, a whole lot of nothing statements, and terms that don't really mean anything or that are just there to make someone excited or feel good. Which I guess if that's what they're going for, they're accomplishing it. It just doesn't really like if somebody's gonna say that to me, it's without any testing parameters. It's like that doesn't mean anything.
right. As the kids would say, this is cap, right? Now we got a lot of guys rolling
Cap
in
on
here.
God, for real, for real.
The most
Yeah.
tested, Paul
Let's
says, the most tested weapon. Guys, this is going to be kind of like a ghetto stream. I literally don't even know why my stuff is so small. It's so small. It's so,
It's so
it's
tiny.
so small. I guess we could do this. Like, okay, now I'm the guy, and then it'll go back to you. Then you're the guy. Anyway, but it says so. Paul says in chat, everybody ask your questions or touch base down in the chat. The chat touch base down in the chat. You can tell we don't do this very often, right? We're virgins to
Yeah.
the live stream, but who cares, right? So let's see. Walt says 6 times more reliable. Um, you know what? Will believe anything. Okay, like yeah. Logie says, I'd buy a Kimber before a SIG. That is a very.
Whoa.
What are your thoughts on that?
That's a flex right there. That's rough.
Have you ever owned
Yeah,
a Kimber?
that's my father has a Kimber revolver that he conceal carries. and it's a revolver, so I can't speak to their semi-autos. It's fine. It's really light. It's nice. That's my only experience with Kimber, other than everybody saying their semi-autos suck. And then when my father was like, "I'm thinking about getting a Kimber semi-auto," and I was like, "Please don't. Just stick with the revolver, or get something. Get an M&P or a Glock."
Yeah, I would say like the at the Cabela's gun counter. Do you know how many Kimbers have crossed that counter? Is
Brother,
it millions?
I'm
Like, let me get that Kimber Custom
nationwide
2,
millions.
the Raptor. Let me get the Kimber Raptor in 45 because they don't make a 46. Next thing you know, this dude's carrying a 5-inch Kimber that's only going to work. So I should be clear. I have owned a Kimber Custom 2. I'm exposing my old futtery, right? I've owned a Kimber Custom 2 in 45, a Kimber Raptor 2 in 45, and a Kimber K6S. The K6S, the Custom 2, and the Raptor 2 were all 100. Like, legitimately, I do not remember ever having a malfunction, and I used to shoot them a lot. Like, before YouTube was ever on my radar to try to make content, I used to shoot them a lot. Never had an issue. However,
Hmm.
I feel like I was definitely the exception. Definitely. Like seeing other
Yeah.
people's problems. But the Raptor 2 was a fun gun. It looked good. It was, wood grip, stainless, Raptor checkering. It looked really good. But I think the reputation of
Hmm.
Kimber, the fact that chat is even. Chat, vote down below. What would you rather have? A Kimber or a SIG? We'll say a
Well,
Kimber.
didn't you
Go
you
ahead.
pushed out a poll, and it was like, what do you trust more, SIG or High Point? And High Point won by like 80% or something
Oh,
crazy like that.
so I did a poll. Would you rather have a SIG M17, a Beretta M9A4, or a
Hmm.
Glock 19X? And the tiering, like it was like a scale. It was like less than
Yeah.
5% said SIG, like 15 to 20%, I'm guessing on the numbers, said M9A4, and the vast majority of the audience was like, just give me the Glock. They know it works, whatever. And I
Hmm.
100% agree, with the findings of that poll. It's funny how the internet can detect bullshit. And when, like, the Lucas thing happened, I did a similar poll. And it's funny, everyone said that Lucas was in the right, not T Rex Arms. So strange how that happens.
Hmm.
Guys are saying Kimber. Yeah, that they have lost. They've lost the narrative, I would say, as far as SIG has lost.
Yeah.
SIG has lost the narrative. On that note, let's
I
read
think
some.
it's
Go ahead.
I was just say it's a rough day to be SIG, that's for sure. And I don't know how they plan on saving face at this point or winning back the hearts and minds. I know that last night, Focus Trip, myself, and a few others, we looked at some of their new products, and there is some interesting speculation on the rifles they're coming out with, potentially trying to save face on the XM7 or the M7, whatever it is now. But we can get to that here in a little bit if we want to touch on that or pivot topics. I know you had something you were going to say.
Well, we can talk about that before we even get into these very exciting comments on their own video. But at a time when you have major issues, and I kind of covered this in my video today, even if they're alleged, okay, even
Mhm.
if all the claims, let's play devil's advocate for a second, if all the claims are alleged and they are in fact innocent. Okay, let's say SIG is completely innocent of any wrongdoing. They made a good product allegedly, right? Even at a
Yeah.
time like this is not the time to come out with a product line. I believe 6 new weapons, right? 4 of them are just copies and new, skins, if you will, right? Different texture, blah, blah, blah. Different, to use a Call of Duty term, just different skins on a model, a different SKU for a model they already create, like a 320 or whatever, right? The 365 Lux was
Yeah.
like the cringiest thing I've ever seen. But at a time when their reputation is in the gutter. They are only marketing to military based on their recent, releases, and advertising is only directed towards military. They've basically given up on the
Mhm.
consumer until yesterday. They've given up on the regular consumer, and to release all this stuff and all this hype, literally, what is that? What? Yeah, it's right here from Focus's stream
The
yesterday.
yeah.
I think I caught part of that when a certain individual was trying to call me out and I called him fat. But yeah, for all okay, so for of all the time right, in the history of SIG, now is not the time to be adding to. Now is the time to perfect what they've already created. And if the guns, that if the 320 is in fact perfect, never had an issue, if you believe their marketing, it's the most tested weapon ever made, which is their own words, right? Now is not the time
Hmm.
to be releasing a different rifle, a different handgun, a 2011, the P11 or 211 or whatever they're calling it here. The SIG P211. Now is not the time.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts on all that?
I mean, I would agree. Yeah. I mean, it's you already have problems, right? And as a company like SIG is, we could say it's alleged, right? I guess nothing's in theory proven, even though there's tons of cases where people have been shot by the 320 and injured by it. But let's, just put that all aside. It would make sense, yeah, to focus on that and refine that rather than, release 25, 26 new products. And it almost seems like they're trying to kind of bury the 320 issues. Like they came out with these two new rifles that are like scaled back versions, more refined, more less silly seeming, like versions of the Spear and the Spear LT. And it's almost like they're going to be like, oh yeah, well these didn't have problems. People were identifying problems, but they didn't actually have problems. So we made this thing that's better, and we're going to replace it and hope that everybody forgets about the issues we had. I'm not saying that's what's happening, but the writing on the wall with these new products, it's almost like we're just going to try to replace everything and move on.
It's so strange, man. And I think the most insulting part of it to I'm trying to be like my pre-workout is worn off. It's the end of the day. I'm super relaxed right now. I'm trying to be very calm and reasonable towards Cole, DJ Shipley, Military Arms
Mm,
Channel, and SIG. Okay, but for them to come out and release a FDE P226, that's the one that was really that in the 365 Lux. Those two were the most insulting to me from the line. Is like, why nobody like I guarantee you I know why they're releasing the 226 in FD. They're releasing it because the comment section of literally any video of a bend video, a focus video, a approach band video, a trench video, any of the boys, right? All of our comments say the same thing. Oh, well, I only carry my 226. If you go through any of my SIG content or any of the guys that I just listed SIG content, you're going to see the same
mm,
thing. The last good SIG gun was a 226. You're going to see that comment
yeah.
over and over. So I guarantee you, this is speculation, of course, from my opinion, from my foxhole, what it looks like they did is we're losing them. We're losing them, chat. So we need to make, I guess I should make myself bigger. Whoa. Okay. From my opinion, they realize that they're losing their fan base, they're losing their audience, they've lost the narrative completely. So now all they're doing is releasing tried and true stuff that is we're not asking for it, right? Now, are a bunch of FUDs definitely going to go out and buy that? Yes, right. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it's unfortunate. And I stated in my video today that if you go out and you're buying a SIG product in 2025, as with the knowledge that we know right now, unless you're forced to because your agency has to buy new one, you need new barrels and slides or magazines or whatever. Unless you're forced to do
Hmm.
that, then you should not be purchasing stuff from SIG right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's without getting like super political about it. It's just when you release things that are unsafe and that are hurting people, and then you deny it. It's just kind of like I don't really want to support that. Like I was looking at, and I know I've heard really good things about SIG optics, but when I was looking at getting an LPVO for a build I was gonna do, a lot of people recommended the SIG LPVO, and I was like, I just don't. Maybe I'll buy one secondhand, but I don't want to really be sending money SIG's way right now, just because it's not someone that I really want to be, the fact that, hold on, we're all over the place,
We're
we're
all
rambling, but
over.
the fact
We're
that
rambling.
if I had dudes under me
Pause.
who we
Pause.
had the
Chat, clip
M17,
it.
what's up?
If he had dudes under him, chat, clip that. All right.
Damn, the sound bited,
He's roasted.
meme it,
We got him, everybody.
cooked. But if my dudes we were out deployed somewhere, we had M17s that we had, and I'd be like, guys, don't carry with one in the chamber. Like it's too much of a risk. I don't want to see someone get shot. And the fact that it's a SIG product, I have to do that, which I don't believe really in the Israeli carry, but the sake that it's a SIG and it's a ticking time bomb, I would tell my dudes for their own safety to do that. I don't want to send a company something that's making stuff that is that hazardous.
I disagree heavily on one part, right? Because I don't know what
I'm
exactly
listening.
what your situation is um, for like service related, but for my situation, I'm still active, right? So I've competed a
Hmm.
lot recently. Like everyone had a loaded gun at all times. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We're talking at any given time, 40 loaded SIG M17s or M18s, right?
Hmm.
One of the other, the vast majority being the M17 because the Army ordered the vast majority of our guns are M17s. Now, units have started buying the M18 slide, which is kind of hilarious.
Hmm.
That everyone wants. I like the M17 and the M18. I could care less. I like them both. The M17 just feels more flippy, I guess was how I would describe it. Like, it just
Okay.
feels like it has more going on. But the point I was going to make is I have seen a ton of chambered up guns very recently, and
Hmm.
I'm going to some courses. I can't say which ones right now because I don't want to like dox myself or have the cadre be like he's coming to our course. We're gonna look for you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not that the
Yeah.
channel's that big, but I try to avoid work. I try to avoid I guess mixing work and play or you know what I mean the channel and work.
Hmm.
But the point I'm making is I don't think we should be hindering our lethality, even if we know there are issues, and obviously there is a very heightened risk. Like I would say, you're taking a low risk
Hmm.
of having a chambered up gun in the holster would be a risk assessment of low. You are increasing it.
Hmm.
I'm of the opinion to moderate. As a senior leader, obviously not represent the Army or Department of Defense when I say this, but you are increasing your risk level at the
Yeah.
time of this video, that we're at the time of this discussion, to a moderate level on the risk assessment. And I think it is something that key leaders should consider of the safety issues and the things we know. However,
Hmm.
we cannot compromise the condition one status or the condition the gun must be in to protect yourself, if that makes sense. I
Hmm.
think the gun, because MPs right now, there are tens of thousands, probably 10,000 right now as we speak, MPs or Army security
Yeah.
guards that are chambered up on duty right now, and they have
Hmm.
to. So I disagree, but I think we can't even though we do know, and you are correct in the like, hey, this gun is more dangerous than it should be. With the investigations and all the information we know right now, I think it compromises our position for force protection, or if that's your secondary weapon if you're from an infantry perspective or machine gun perspective,
Hmm.
mortarman or medic, you cannot compromise your ability to defend yourself and fight and kill the enemy in Minecraft because of this drama. Even though yes, you're at a higher risk.
Interesting. I get where you're coming from, and I could definitely see it. I I just would, and maybe um, it's something where I don't want one of my dudes to get shot by his own gun that's on his hip because it's got one in the chamber and this is a 320, even though it is a pretty low chance, and I don't think any of my dudes are going to be having them in any mob that's coming up or any training. It makes me there's just that worry in the back of my mind of could something like that be prevented? But that makes sense too, because you are limiting yourself, especially if that's your only weapon system, right? That now you have to take that extra moment to put around in the chamber, which I think is really dumb. And I don't like if you're concealed carrying or outside the waistband, I always carry with one in the chamber. In the event though that it's that SIG, it just really makes me like, man, okay, like it's real. But again, you did say, and it is true, it is very low. And I've used shot a stick a lot. And yes, I haven't seen anybody have one go off unintentionally. Thankfully, I have not seen it happen.
So from the perspective of a first sergeant or a platoon sergeant, we cannot allow, and this is just my opinion, right? We cannot allow
Hmm.
the hype and negative stigma, even though we agree. Like I'm sure pretty much we have 114 or 120
No,
guys
I
watching.
get where you're coming from.
Yeah, we can't allow that
Big
to
picture stuff,
change
yeah.
our. Because trust me, there were guys that are followers of the channel that were at that last competition and that last course that I was at, and both times, what
Hmm.
were guys joking about while we were dry firing? Hey man, Like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Like, and guys would say, dude, I'm nervous. I'm nervous to holster this thing up. And
Hmm.
even though knowing what I know, knowing what all of us know here, as a leader,
Hmm.
senior leader, you cannot allow that narrative to spread because now guys don't have confidence in their equipment. You need to make them aware, like, hey guys, check it out. There have been concerns, there have been safety issues. This is what you should be aware of. Keep in mind the orientation of your gun. These are the facts that we know, but we cannot compromise
Hmm.
our mission. We cannot compromise our training and the way we operate, if that makes sense. And
Hmm.
trust me, I had to unfortunately be SIG's biggest offender in many cases recently at work, where it's like people, you know, E8s, E7s would straight up be like, "Hey man, what do you think about this? What we're about to do?" And people
Hmm.
asking legitimate, what are your thoughts? How should we proceed as a unit? And we have to proceed as if nothing is happening. However, we need to educate our soldiers. We can't change.
Hmm.
We can't change anything, but we need to educate our soldiers, and the Marines need to educate their people because they have the M18 as well. Hey guys, bring it in.
Yeah.
This is the thing. However, we're getting paid to put people in the dirt, and the only way we're going to do that is if we train accordingly. Now, the Department of
Hmm.
Defense, this is just trench talking. The Department of Defense does, in my personal opinion, not professional, they do owe the soldiers and Marines an answer. We cannot just sit.
Yes.
I do not think they should be sitting idly by and just saying, because right now, as we're speaking, I guarantee you, I guess it's getting later in the day, but I guarantee you there's guys doing a live fire, platoon live fire, company live fire right now with a ton of SIGs chambered
Hmm.
up, shoot houses,
Yep.
whatever, and I guarantee you there are staff sergeants and sergeant first classes and first sergeants having to have that discussion of we cannot compromise our lethality.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's
I
just
get where
my
you're coming
my thoughts,
from. Yeah.
and
I mean, what you're doing is inherently.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, what you're doing is inherently dangerous, and you need to, when it comes to, we're talking big army things. When it comes to like you're there to do this mission, and it's already inherently dangerous, and it's more risky for you to have them be put in an environment where you need that M17, and the extra second it takes to rack it could be fatal for you, rather than the very small chance that it does go off in your holster, God forbid, and then it puts one down through your leg, and you got to throw a tourniquet on. Now you're out of the fight. So I get it. I definitely get where you're coming from. Something I'd like to think about more, and it's a good perspective from somebody who's got senior leadership experience with Army stuff.
It's
Army
just
talk
some,
over.
yeah, I know. It's just something to think about, and I'm sure chat enjoys it, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's just things to think about. It's unfortunate. Like, trust me, I wish it could just be bones and trench, right? And we could just give our honest thoughts, and hey, we're just gonna all go out and get Glock 19s and Glock 47s, and that's just what we're gonna use, or Beretta M9A4s. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's you draw your weapon, you draw your handgun, you draw your nods, and you know how it is. You draw your rifle, and that's it. You
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
There's no discussion.
That's what you got.
There's no discussion
Yeah.
about what you're
Yeah.
drawing. Is what you're assigned. Okay. But yeah, that's a lot
Hmm.
of pedigree talk. I'm sure we lost somebody with that. That's I don't. Who cares? It's our live.
Yeah.
We're in
I mean, it's
charge.
people have their niche of what they like to talk about, and like it's gonna be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
So, it's the things I don't like to speak on things I don't know a ton about. So like when when I'm on John's stream, if there's something that like I don't know about, I tend not to try to put input. And when they start talking USPSA, it's something that it's like I don't know a ton about it. I've done one match. That's awesome. I will give input where I can, but it's I don't like to step outside of what I know. So because I think a lot of people do that on YouTube where they talk about shit they don't know about, and it's not productive.
And I think that is why it's so refreshing. You and I being able to sit here, chill with the guys and chat, literally, and just have
Hmm.
normal discussion, and not this. And we're about to talk about it right now. These guys, the GBRS, approach to the way that they conduct business. Obviously, they have sponsorships, but the problem becomes when you lose the trust of your audience because you're so filtered, you're so bogged down in this corporate world. People don't respect you. Now you can go all the way to the
Yeah.
the other degree of you're so shooting from the hip. P320 shooting you in the hip. Allegedly, well, not even allegedly, it's happened. Okay, but you can go one extreme or the other. But I think that like guys like Protraban and the normal dudes on the platform, it's refreshing to just hit the live button and sit here and have a normal discussion. But with all that,
Yeah, absolutely.
let's get like we planned this, and I leaked our DMs by the way, so we're both cooked on accident.
Hell
But
yeah.
yeah, so we're both cooked anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yeah,
Compromised.
this was all literally spur of the moment. Like I think I was in the gym an hour ago and was like, "Do you want to send
Mhm.
it?" And it was like, "Yeah." So let's get into these comments, okay? Guys, if you're here, if you're in the chat, if you have questions or you have things, and I don't see your comment, just let me know, right? Just post in chat. But make sure you hit the like button to pump up the algorithm. And with all that, let's get into this. This guy Buffalo says this is genuinely one of the what videos I've ever seen on the internet in a while. It just oozes slime, politician, and fake. Yes.
The SIG video? Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Oh, you're good. I'm gonna reply to these guys' comments as we go through.
Oh, nice. Okay. Is this in response to SIG's release video with GBRS and all that?
Oh yeah. So what they're saying is the comment section of that video of the GBRS video.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a lot of people, I'm not gonna say don't realize, but a lot of what these these guys who have, and I'm gonna say the P word, who got the pedigree.
Pedigree.
People want their opinion. Companies want to have them support them. So a lot of them, not saying, not pointing fingers at anybody specifically, but a lot of these guys, they'll use that experience, that pedigree to market themselves, and then to the highest bidder, shill whatever it is that is making them money. And people don't realize that they're essentially just ad readers. They're just becoming a marketing piece for these companies, and that's just what some people do with themselves, I suppose. And yeah, that's what a lot of what it is. If something is being advertised, especially on YouTube, especially by some SF or some group that has sway in the community, and it's not something that either they themselves made and are putting their names behind, and even then we've seen with like the Hydro mount, sometimes it is just garbage. It's just ad reads, or it's just ad pieces, it's just marketing to make money. And that's unfortunately kind of where YouTube's at right now.
Can you imagine the GBRS content like exactly how it is, except genuine and not forcing the promotions? Let's say they go out, like think about the PSA Saber video that they did that was clearly trash. They spent zero time with the gun.
Yeah.
It was obvious. They threw on the attachments. They were marketing their Hydra crap. They went straight out there, and they even look bad. Like from an infantryman's perspective, they didn't even look like operators. They just look awkward with the gun, recoil sensitive. It was like the gun was literally cold, not zeroed. They took it out of the box, is what it looked like, and started filming.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of content, while it's appealing to the FUDs, for lack of a better term, the guys that are going to support them regardless just based on their military service, which is extremely sad, I think, in 2025. I think it's good to give people, hey, thank you for your service or whatever, but it's kind of embarrassing to blindly follow someone just because they were in the Army or the Navy SEALs or whatever, right? But the fact that all of their content is they take said product out of the box, they have no experience with it, like the AK video is the most glaring, where they have no experience on the AK. I don't know if you've seen it. They have no experience on it, and they just immediately start giving their opinion and 2 cents on something they have. They may have seen them downrange, but your average trash shooter with a Wasser 10 could tell you that the vast majority of what they said in that video is uneducated trash.
Yeah, and that's oh god, I think my camera. Nope. Oh, we're frozen. We'll come back. There we go.
Do not
Okay.
come.
Yeah, we did not redeem the camera, sir. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen a ton of the GBRS stuff. Because generally I don't really care too much for it, but I did see that Saber video, and yeah, when it's just, if you find a YouTube video and it's like some dudes who are out at the flat range, they're very clear. Use some intuition. They're very clearly not familiar with a weapon system. They don't really know what they're saying. They don't really have any drive behind what they're saying, or any experience behind what they're saying. And they're just like holding up the rifle. Yeah, this thing's great. Maybe they shoot it through, mags through it. Yeah, it's awesome. Here's why we like it. And that's it. That's not a review. That's not legitimate advice. That is an ad read. That's what that is. And you don't just see with GBRS. A lot of dudes do that when the RXM first came out. A lot of guys, yeah, this is great. Here's what it has out of the box. Some of the specs. I shoot 2 mags through it. Yeah, it's awesome. Buy one. It's like, that's not real content. That's for a lack of better words, that is someone shilling you a product. And that's not actually. I don't think that type of content's very valuable to the consumer. That type of stuff is not really what you should be basing your purchases off of in the year of our Lord 2025.
I completely agree. And so many guys think that not that I'm the most successful YouTuber, but so many guys think that the key to success is sponsorship. I actually think it's the opposite, right? If you can,
Yeah, I think that's a downfall for a lot of people.
I mean, name a channel. Well, we don't have to name names, but everyone knows, even though I always call people out, everyone knows all the channels, right? They get too many sponsorships, and next thing you know, it is a Grantham video, okay, where they literally have 5 sponsors to start the video, a mid video ad read, and then a post, ending video ad read. So we're looking at 7 to 8 sponsorships for one video. That is clown.
Yeah.
That is like, even Joe Rogan, you know what I mean, himself has like, what, 2 for a 4-hour stream, you know what I mean, a 4-hour live. So I think a lot of this, and we were talking, I was texting Ben a little bit earlier, and Ben Sager, and we were kind of in Protraman, and we were kind of like, do these guys, are they self-aware? Is Cole and DJ, are DJ and Cole, are they self-aware to understand? Like, do they see the comments? Is SIG self-aware enough? And it almost feels like they're just disingenuous and have no integrity at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if it's if they don't know, they don't care. I mean, everybody will steel man it and say everybody's got to, make money for their families, they got to survive, whatever. But I don't know if it's not caring, if it's not self-aware, if they genuinely believe, some of them, that what they're pushing is good. But my general rule of thumb is, oh, my bad, wrong button. We're back. My general rule of thumb is, though, if it's being advertised as like an ad spot on YouTube, 9 times out of 10, if not more, whatever they're selling is either garbage, or it's not what is being advertised, or it's not as good as they're saying it is. And I mean, the only one that I even really I'm thinking off the top of my head, like a halfway decent, non-scummy ad read would be, and it's funny that we're going to bring this guy up, is Grantham being sponsored by Henry Repeating Arms. That is one that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I look at and I go, they don't make garbage rifles. It's not scammy. It's just, that's one of the few things that I've seen.
The thing that I think is strange is because, Shad, if I'm cutting him off or he's cutting me off, it's just because there's a very tiny delay, and you know what I mean. So sorry, not trying to interrupt you there, but I have some speculation. They have a product line. Henry made a product line, I believe, for Grantham, like a tactical version of a lever action rifle, and they've given him several. Okay. That's why. That, and Henry's a massive company, so for him to get a Henry Repeating Arms sponsorship, like, it's gross. Every time I see it, it's like, I don't want anything to do with that. Now, if it was like, hey, if it was just more genuine, you know what I mean? But like,
it's definitely out of place. It feels out of place for sure.
Yeah, it's strange.
That's where I'm at. I don't know. I've had a Marlin 22 rifle. I haven't owned any Henrys or Marlins, so I don't know about their quality compared to each other. that one, it just feels out of place to me. It doesn't really feel scummy. It just feels out of place. But some ads do feel actually scummy when you legit look into them, like, USCCA. What are some of the other ones? Some of the insurance stuff.
I'll tell you right
Those tend
now,
to
the
be the one. SDI,
SDI
like
is
that. Yeah,
trash.
SDI is the other one.
There are still some YouTubers that are using SDI, and it's disgusting.
Yes. Yeah,
Not to name names, but everyone knows. I mean, chat can name who we're talking about. By the way, chat, if you haven't hit the like button, you're trash. So just like SIG, so hit the like button and make sure you support
you're
both.
gay.
Hit the like button. Oh, we should talk about that very briefly. Vintage is
What's up?
fighting the algorithm.
Vintage, yeah.
So I found out about that last
He
night.
is.
So if you guys
Mm-hmm.
make sure you touch base with Vintage, right? I'm not sure all of his methods of communication, but touch base with Vintage, give him some support as you know. This is a full-time job, I believe, or at least a part-time job for him. So for them to just
Yeah.
out of nowhere, turn off his revenue and kind of nuke him that way, that is not good, right? Obviously, that's not good. So support Vintage,
Yeah.
our favorite African
And
king,
African Queen,
African queen.
our independent African Queen content creator. In fighting the algorithm on YouTube is really tough, especially when you're not like a super mega massive channel. Now, Vintage Warfare is a big channel, 300,000 subscribers, nothing to sneeze at. More than I'm sure either one of us will ever have in our lifetimes. But there's
So big.
unrelated to fight huge. It is huge.
Huge.
His channel immense. Unrelated to firearms content, but a channel on YouTube, Sir Swag. He got his channel hijacked, and this was like full blown. Like people hacked it, took it over, turned it into like a crypto Indian scam, like absolute slop channel. He had, I think, a right around the same size as Vintage Warfare. It took him like 4 months to get his channel back. 3 to 4 months, and he's got a very good comprehensive video on what that experience was like for him. Oh god, our camera fell. Oh god, chat. We got the ghetto set up right now. But he's got a very good comprehensive video on what that was like, how difficult that was for him to go through that process. The people he had to lean on, channels with tens of millions of subscribers to get YouTube's attention. And it ended up being that after about 2 months, he had to hire lawyers, send YouTube like a formal, hey, you need to do this or I'm going to sue you, before anything actually started to move. So if you guys want an insight, and I think Vintage Warfare should look at that video because it's a really good insight on how YouTube, their AI takes into account like going through disputes and trying to resolve issues, because it's so difficult to get in contact with a real person on YouTube. There's so much AI, for lack of a better term, slop, and just running you through a ringer and circling around the problem, and it's super difficult to get stuff done. So I really hope he's able to.
I'll send you, remind me after
not.
this. I'll send you a contact for a dude at YouTube that helps out sometimes. So he's helped out Ben in the past. He's helped out Mr. Thumb in the past. He's helped out Ben in the past. And he's helped me out in the past. And that's what I was, if Garand Thumb came out with a video titled "Save Vintage Warfare" or "Free Vintage Warfare," and went to YouTube and talked to them, I would give him a free pass. What are your thoughts on that? I would welcome him back. If a channel of his size, you know what I mean, was like, hey, I'm back. I'm gonna help out the community. I'm not just gonna make slop content, because he's made 2 good videos recently. The designated marksman video and the shotgun video were both very good, right? Actual good Garand Thumb content. But if a guy of his that channel size, that's kind of on the outs, if he was like, hey, I made a mistake, I made a lot of mistakes, but help out this other channel, I would be like, based, mega based. He's if he apologized and he came back in the fold that way, I'd be like, okay, cool, he's back. That's all it would take. To be honest, for me.
Yeah, I think that so for one, if Garand Thumb did make a video like that where they called out YouTube and said, hey, this needs to get fixed, YouTube would probably fix it pretty quickly because YouTube does actually look a lot into how pissed people are getting, and if something is getting enough publicity, they will address it. And that was something that was mentioned in Sir Swag's video. So I think that would help. And if, in theory, Grantham did that, I don't know if it would absolve him of every, all past crimes are since, forgiven. But I definitely would be like, wow, okay, that is a really cool big step in the right direction, helping the community. Absolutely.
Yeah, it would just show.
I don't know if I'd be like, oh, welcome back to my life, open arms, I'm buying a PSA. But
No,
I would
no,
be like,
no.
hey, this is good. This is good things.
It would be better than where he stands now. I think is the
For
point.
sure, yeah.
It would just be a breath of fresh air, right? Speaking of a breath of fresh air,
Absolutely.
unless you have any more to add
Fresh
on
of breath
that,
air.
a breath of fresh. Speaking
A
of a
fresh of breath
random
air.
9mm round cutting your femoral artery from a SIG product, allegedly, let's get into some of these. Let's get into some of these comments, okay? You want to?
I'm listening.
Do you
Let's
want to
hear
do?
it.
Let's do top comments. This will be fun.
Yes.
Let it load. Oh, okay. All right. Gun looks. This guy says, gun looks sick. I'll definitely be picking up a Glock 19. 360.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's
365
amazing.
likes on that one comment. The SIG check
365 too?
on one.
Specifically
Yes.
365.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. Let's see. Gun looks slick. Okay, we already said that. The SIG checks keep on flowing. 101 comments. Ben Stager says, "How much does SIG pay you guys?" Read the replies on this. I don't know why my computer is going super slow. Okay. We found the biggest SIG defender. Who cares? They found a way to make money.
Here we go.
Or the biggest GBRS defender. He says, "Who cares? They found a way to make money. Let them." It has to be a ton, Ben.
Well, you say that, but if you're making money in an illegitimate or a way that is hindering or hurting a community, it's usually not an amazing way to be making money.
Yeah, not a good look.
My input, at least.
They say it has to be a ton, Ben. Ben, you're diabolical. Oh, we love Ben Stager. Is it Stager or Stoger? I believe it's Stager.
I don't know. I actually do not know. I've never spoken to the man, and nobody's ever told me which it is.
I believe it's Stager. He said, "Laugh out loud,
Okay.
shut up, Ben. SIG pays well, benefits, welfare. Like, what more could you ask for? Somebody is jealous, but no worries. You're not good enough that they would pay you." That is the biggest cope and seethe comment I've ever read, I think. If Ben, do you know how fast they would sponsor Ben if he would just stop shitting on them?
Oh, dude, it would be. He's the number one guy for USPSA right now on the platform. So I mean, they're in a heartbeat. I'm sure they would.
Yeah. So this is just coping and seething, or whatever the kids say. Let's see more replies. I said $250,000 a year is what I said. Another guy said $250,000 a year. A fucking lot. Why are you going to be their offer? Ben Sager and Trench Grenade are the view of the gun community. Hey, I love it. I love the drama.
Trench mentioned. Let's go.
I'll take it, dude, because this goes off our previous discussion about the Army and training different. It's like, dude, this is a problem. Like it's fun to laugh, sit here and laugh with you and laugh with the guys in the chat and stuff like that. Laugh with the guys on Discord, which they can get access to for $5 a month, to the private Discord server for Patreon. Anyway,
totally based.
Yeah, totally based, self-promotion. But yeah, it's fun to sit here and laugh at everything. But at the end of the day, this is a multi-hundred million or more probably billion-dollar company at this point.
I mean, if you're talking with their government contracts, it's got to be in the billions at this point.
They're moving tons of product, allegedly unsafe product, and this type of drama in the community is healthy drama. I feel it is a healthy amount of drama right now. You know what I mean? I don't feel that it's toxic.
Yeah, I mean it's the court of public opinions, right? So it's not like SIG is had a single very minor issue and we're trying to blow it out of proportion. It's not that we're trying to, make something bigger than it is. We're not going after the people who purchase SIGs and saying that they're bad people. So I don't see where this would be a toxic drama. This is simply, hey, this is stuff that is issues that are legitimate issues, and we are expressing our opinions and our thoughts on said issues independently. We're also not saying that, we're not coming on saying I am speaking as, and as so and so within an organization, saying that this organization does not trust this product. We're not, that's not what's occurring. So I don't think this is toxic in nature. I think this is very normal for people to identify a problem that is hurting people and hurting the industry and talk about said problem.
And it exposes people like Goober's Group, who before were, oh, they're doing the podcast, they're going on, people like Sean Ryan, Sean Ryan is a person that literally has given out what 100 SIG products for free on his promoted SIG, so that's a whole nother issue, right? But yeah, it exposes channels like this, right? I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, Springfield. This is a whole tangent. We could probably do a whole 2-hour stream on Springfield. My thoughts on Springfield are they are a trash company that makes trash products, such as the XD. I do not like the Hellcat. I don't like the M1A. It is not an accurate weapon. Okay, every time you clean the M1A and pull it out of the stock, whether you get the wood or the laminate, plastic, polymer, whatever, it literally loosens up the tolerances faster than a standard M14 should. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not a Springfield enjoyer. So for the chat, let's see. Who said? Someone was like saying that they carry a Springfield XD. That is the cringiest thing I've ever read, personally.
Is the XD the one that you bought and it came with like a holster and a bunch of other stuff too, right? Is that the one?
I can't pull it up because we'll get nuked from existence. But it's the one with the grip safety that looks like trash, that shoots like trash. That thing. It has a grip safety.
Yeah, Springfield isn't an American company anymore, or at least their manufacturing isn't. It's in Croatia and some other places. So they also did some shady stuff back in like the early 2010s, I think, wherever they were based out of at the time, they tried to get some legal bill passed that would affect all other manufacturers but them. That's pretty cringe. That hurts the community. That hurts the industry. And nothing I've seen that Springfield has made that I've been interested in. My buddy has a Springfield Saint and that I told him he shouldn't buy, and then he bought it, and it works most of the time.
But it's an AR, dude.
Whatever.
How many?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Anderson
an AR,
is making trash AR, or used to. Anderson.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah. So, if you bought a Springfield Saint, a Springfield XD, a Prodigy, oh my God, trash, like legitimate trash. Like, they should be sued. Trash.
To be sued for how bad it is.
I cannot believe that they produced it, sold it in its configuration in the current state that it's in, and that guys buy it. I get it. People are gonna buy. You make it, they're gonna buy it, but there are defenders. Like, chat, post your thoughts, chat, on the Springfield Prodigy. Is the Springfield Prodigy good or bad? Post those.
I know it's bad just because there's a very homegrown, very boomery shooting group they do tactical shooting and stuff like that. We train every so often, and these guys are mostly all boomers and FUDs, good people. Just kind of that's the demographic, like FUD to doing tactical training pipeline, I guess. And even those dudes, some of them do run Springfields. Even those dudes are like, the Prodigy's awful. And that's actually where I first learned about the Prodigy. And I'm like, if these guys are saying the Prodigy's bad, it has to be really bad.
It's really
because
bad.
Some of these dudes are running Monstrum optics and 7.5 ARs.
It's
and
bad.
these guys are saying it's bad. It's got to be rough.
And then you got to look at all these content creators that all of a sudden released a Springfield Kuno review all in the same
Yeah,
day.
that's the other thing too.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder, that's so weird that they all released. That's so weird
Hmm.
that they all released a Springfield Kuno review. Hmm. Within like a couple hours of each other. That's so crazy. But yeah.
Yeah. Almost like it was a coordinated thing. Now, I don't know if we could still talk about Springfield if you want, but the same thing happened for the RXM by Ruger, where all of a sudden a bajillion RXM reviews came up. But most of the guys that I saw, the big channels, were upfront about it and said, "Hey, they had
An
whatever
embargo.
the legal term is,
They
yeah,
had
an
an
embargo
embargo.
that said that we couldn't make this a review until now." Like I think James Reeves, TFB TV, just in general said, "Hey, there's an embargo on this. All these channels are going to make this. This is complete transparency." That didn't happen with the Springfield, from what I saw, with that Kuna, that PCC SMG thing that they released that Grantham did a video on. I saw, and I looked at it and went, "Wow, I don't really care."
Content is always good. The method that they went about it and the people went about it, bad.
Yeah.
We got a super chat here. DMs.
Oh
Louise
boy.
says, Trench, please. I need a Python test video, maybe 3,000 rounds. I did a meme video, I believe, like a month ago, where I
Yeah,
went to the
I
range
remember.
and I did burn like 1,000 rounds of 38 special. Go Google on your own time, of course, not in Minecraft, how much 1,000 rounds costs. It is significant for 38 special
38, yeah.
compared to 9 millimeter. So you're welcome. That video already exists. Boom, I have one right here. This is a airsoft. Um, boom, 38 special airsoft.
Airsoft edition.
But yeah, I burned a
Airsoft.
bunch of this the other day. But what I've
Hmm.
noticed is, and this is a whole rabbit hole. But I noticed the guys they want the burn down videos, but they more, and you can see it in the analytics. They want to hear you talk about it and hear your post action review. They don't want to see you burn it. So I haven't been filming a
Yeah.
lot on the range lately.
In the like a doing a burn down is it's good to have the footage to prove, hey, I did actually shoot this much. Um, I feel like though it is like it's almost like redlining a car or like an engine, or it's extremely accelerated wear, and I don't think that burn downs are not valuable, because they absolutely are showing what the absolute worst case scenario for a firearm is. But I'm also really interested in more long-term reviews where instead of burning down, 3,000 rounds in one or two sittings, it's like I did 3,000 rounds through, 6 months. And I shot it in a variety of different situations. And, this also shows the wearing of the slide and the finish, and showing it in a holster, getting beaten up a little more than just blasting a bajillion rounds through it. Not saying that that isn't useful, but I think that people want that post-action review and want to actually know how it performed in a variety of situations while with a high volume of fire.
Yeah, I mean, there for a while. I disagree a little bit because so for my burn down videos, I would say they're burn
Mhm.
down light. They are 200 or 300 rounds, let it cool off for 5 minutes while I pack mags.
Mhm.
200 or 300 more rounds, let it cool off for 5 minutes. So it's still very, very hot, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not like I don't get it so hot that I'm gonna get a cook off. I try to avoid, obviously avoid that. But that is
Yeah.
my main concern, is a cook off during those videos. But I disagree a little bit because I think it is good because it's good in the fact like the Ruger RXM. I think you were the one that
Mhm.
actually encouraged me to do that
I did.
series.
I did. It was me.
And so because you and Focus Strip is checking in, we'll read that in 1 second.
Oh, what's up? Oh,
What
what's up,
up,
John?
Focus? So this is a weird dynamic being on this side. Normally I'm the one drunkenly commenting in his chat, but now but that's good. Focus is based. But you actually were like, hey man, can you just test this thing, right? So I bought it.
Mhm.
Obviously bought it, and I think I put five. No, we're at 6,000 ish rounds now, 4,000 on camera, and that
Yeah.
thing is perfect. Perfect.
Yes.
and that is
Absolutely.
why
And
it
it's,
is.
and it's oh,
Don't.
good, good. No, you can
I was
finish.
gonna say, don't
I
touch
don't want
it.
to
I know it's right there. Don't touch it.
interrupt.
Get us nuked, but yeah, the Ruger RXM is extremely based. I totally forgot where. Oh, the burn downs. The Ruger RXM is extremely
Yes,
based, but guys would never know. Do you know how many guys like
you're right.
if I had a sponsorship with Ruger, which would be kind of based, kind of looking at this now for the RXM only. If I did,
Mhm.
and I did have a sponsorship, I guarantee you my Ruger series of burn downs sold a lot of RXMs because the guns are cheap, the guns are reliable, they are exactly like a Gen 3 Glock. Exactly.
Yep,
But better
yep.
in for the
And
optics.
absolutely. And I'll say that while we show the RXM, Ruger, if you want, you can sponsor me. I'll take the sponsorship. I have 3 of your guns. I like them all, but I'm not going to talk about guns I don't own. Um, anyway, I do like the RXM a lot. I carry one daily. And I think the burn downs are especially useful for when a new product comes out and people want data on that product right now and no one else has it. Because when I had asked you about the RXM burn down, all the videos I saw on the RXM were like I had mentioned earlier. It was all guys take it out of the box, they talk about the specs. Okay, wow, that's really cool. Maybe they'll ghost the trigger. Maybe they'll show it off to the camera a little. Maybe they'll shoot 100 rounds through it, and then they're like, "Yeah, this thing's great. Oh, this is awesome." Or, "Yeah, I like this. I don't know about this." And to me, especially on something that's a clone gun, it's essentially a Glock 19 Gen 3. I know they have the chassis system, but still, especially on stuff like that I already know the specs about it, and I get what it looks like. I want to know, is it reliable? Is this something that I can bet my life on? Because if I'm gonna buy it, that's why I'm buying it. And for a while there, nobody had content on like, hey, I'm actually shooting the RXM. I'm actually torture testing it. I'm actually, doing like a mud test or a reliability test. None of that existed. And I think you were one of the first ones. And that's why I picked up my RXM, was because I'm like, okay, there's actually some basis here that this thing's reliable.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I'll toot my own horn before I do that. Focus trip for $10. Whoa, mega based. Says big
Holy
vertical.
money bags.
Correct. He says big vertical still owns Bones' soul. This is true. You go
Big
sideways with
vertical
me.
does not. Oh yeah, yeah, I
Go
forgot.
sideways
Yeah,
with me.
because of how I'm filming.
But back to the RXM. Thank you, Focus. He said he was watching Vintage stream. I didn't know he was streaming. So, oops, I didn't mean to
Oh, really? Is
try to
Vintage live right
compete.
now? That's
I didn't try.
awesome.
Not that my channel competes with Vintages, but I didn't mean to try to
Yeah,
compete. You know what I mean? But
it's stepping on them. Yeah.
right. Not that I don't know how else. Anyway, so back to the Ruger RXM thing. Yes. So, and that's why I kind of disagree with the burn down is when I got the gun, my intention, and I always did the same thing. And I kind of want to get back into the burn downs, but I spent like $4,000 or $5,000 in like a 2 month period on ammo alone.
Yeah,
I was burning
yeah.
ammo, dude. It was crazy. Nighthawk was like, "Yo, okay, like we gotta think about this. We
We're
don't
gonna
do
go in dead
we don't
soon.
do the same finances for everything, but she's still like, are you good? Cause like, it's like me wide eyed, like we gotta get to the range and burn this. The SIG. I did two.
Yeah,
I did the M17, the 320, two PSAs, a Ruger RXM, and a PSA Saber rifle, all in a very short period of
yeah.
time. And I was like, we got to get back to the range. Anyway, but the Ruger RXM, and it's funny we talk about this because I went back and I did a follow up video because so many guys were DMing
Hmm.
me on Instagram and commenting on other videos like, but seriously, is the Ruger RXM good? So I went back and I made the Ruger
Yeah.
RXM funeral video. I was like, I think I basically said in that video, dude, yes. Not only is it just as good as the Glock Gen 3, I think in a lot of ways it surpasses it, and in a lot of ways I enjoy it more. Like the magazine release is just a small thing, right? But the magazine
Mm.
release is so intuitive that you can use it without changing your grip. Right now, of course, the guys are
Yes.
going to get in chat and they're going to be like, "Oh, but then I'm going to eject my magazine on an accident." I've never had that issue, right? But yes,
Mm.
I do think Ruger absolutely like hit the ball out of the park with the Ruger RXM, dude. Like absolutely.
Yeah, everybody's gonna have different hands, different ergonomic things, right? And And so some guns are going to work for people better than others. But I will agree with you pretty much 100% that the RXM has some features and has some things that just really set it aside from a Gen 3 Glock 19, like the fact that the sights out of the box are metal. And for me, the biggest thing was it comes with tritium night sights. They're night sights. It's fiber optic tritium.
You can rack it.
Metal. Yep. And the grip feels. I prefer the grip over a standard Glock grip. The sights are better than a standard Glock sights. They're metal too. And actually, Kentucky Ballistics just broke a set of Glock rear sights on his recent video. He was trying to rack it on a barrel and racked it, and the rear sight broke right off. That was just kind of a funny bit. Don't have to worry about that with the RXM. I've had, no reliability issues. The chassis system's cool for one. I'm sure Magpul makes some, PDW kits for it. Trigger feels about the same, if not better. I think it's a bold thing to say, but it's hard for me to think of why I would want a Gen 3 Glock 19 over an RXM. Legitimately, it's
the name.
I can't really think of. Yeah, I was gonna say the only thing I can think of is if you want to be like, the Glock is so proven, and if you want to be on that bandwagon, you absolutely can. But I will spend more money and get a firearm I will like more, or spend less money and get a gun I will like more.
And Ben Steger again mentioned, he brings up a lot in a lot of his videos, like, why would you go and buy a PSA dagger or like something cheaper, and why are guys complaining about Glock? I think in this one case with the Ruger RXM, this is like the exception to the rule. Like every other time, it would be like, yeah, just buy a Glock, you'll be good, right? But in this one case, it's like you could just save some money for another case of ammo, like 1,000 rounds of ammo or an optic with getting the RXM, right? So it is something for like, even for me, like if I'm saying like a lot all of a sudden, but to go out right now, if I had no weapons at all and I needed to get a few of the same, an RXM would be a very good choice to just get 3 and just run that thing forever. Yeah. That would be a very good choice, So, but yeah,
absolutely.
I guess there's the mini RXM discussion.
Here's our RXM. Here's our Ruger RXM shill that is homegrown, unpaid, and we both really like the pistol. And Ruger, if you want to pay me for repping the RXM, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that'd be base. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Let's get through some of these comments, and I know you have something you got to get moving for here in a little bit.
I've got some more time. I'm not in a rush. We're good. But yeah, what are some of the homies in chat saying?
Oh, chat. Let's touch bit chat. Hello, chat.
Also tiny.
He said, imagine accidentally ejecting a mag, as what one dude says. That happens a lot for untrained shooters. You'd be surprised. Do any of you have experience with Freedom Munitions? I do not.
I don't believe so. I'll have to ask some of the guys that I train with, but I don't think I have.
Chewin Bubblegum says, I need an RXM and OD green. Or, hear me out, just paint it. But yes, I think OD green would be base. I paint a lot of my handguns. But the blue
would be cool.
The blue is oddly aesthetic. Have you noticed that?
I don't normally like the stealth gray. Like there's a lot of Molly stuff that's stealth gray, a lot of holsters and shit, and I think it looks stupid. But something about the RXM's stealth gray, I don't hate it. I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weirdly appealing because normally it'd be like blue. That's what I said. I have a whole video talking about Ruger's failed Glock, right, when it first came out, because I was like, this is going to be trash.
Yeah.
But then it ended up being amazing.
Yes,
But yeah, I think we were like, why is it blue? But it's kind of like...
Why is it blue?
Blue? But yeah, I think it actually sets it apart, kind of, from Glock or PSA daggers.
Yeah, I think it stands out, and I'm certain Magpul is going to make frames in every single color under the sun for this thing, because It's got the chassis system, so you can. They already make it a black frame for it, I know.
If they make it in
And I think
pink,
they even make a shorter frame.
if they
So,
make it in pink,
oh,
either if Ben doesn't buy
cooked.
one, then they're cooked. Okay. Um, we have.
Yeah.
This is a question, and focus. If you're still in here, I gotta say you're cursed for having a Canic. So many guys ask about Canic, and every time I read the word Canic, I get a little bit more cancer. Don't buy Canic. They are trash. I do not like Canic. They are Turkish manufactured. They are not as reliable as the competition, like a Smith and Wesson or a Glock. In my
Mhm.
experience, their quality control is not as good as the competition. No, do not buy a Canic. Like I do not like Canic. I hate Canic.
Yeah, I've never personally had one. A lot of dudes in my classes, they run them. I haven't really heard of much issue. However, comma,
However,
and when somebody
it
tells me
would
they're
behoove
looking,
you.
yeah, it would behoove you to heed these words. Whenever somebody says I'm looking at buying a Canic, I just ask them why instead of an M&P or a Glock or the Ruger RXM. Just because the quality control, and I'm not an Uber like, we gotta support American companies, but at the same time I'm like, if you can get an American product that's going to be better for around the same price or cheaper, I don't see the reason you'd go with the Canic or whatever foreign alternative you're looking at.
Yeah, no. I had a buddy buy one way back in the day. I think we're talking like 2016 or 17-ish timeline, maybe 18. And
Hmm.
we had issues. It was the TP9 SF Elite or something like that. And it
Okay.
just seeing it and seeing the ones that I've seen in person now, it's just gross. I had a dude, we went to a match. It was like a steel challenge. He couldn't get through a mag, right? Of just 124 grain
Oh man,
blazer.
that sucks.
Like it was just we lubricated it. It was weird, right? It would have, and then
Hmm.
after we finally started getting it running a little bit, it would still have like random, like every two or three mags. You know how steel challenge are? It's like 5 stages, so you shoot them all 4 times or
Hmm.
4 or 5 times for each stage. It was just strange to like see this gun. I do not like Canics personally. But yeah,
I think there's better options, especially for even if you're on a budget, man. Like I don't know exactly how much Canics are, but I mean, there's so many other options that are better that are going to be within your price range.
you save like $200, right? Let's say you save $200 compared to the competition, or $300.
Hmm.
Not worth it. It's Turkish
Yeah.
trash, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Going back to the Goobers, Cope and see the comments on the
Oh,
SIG. Let's
what we got?
see. How many Indian-made MIM parts does it have? 117 likes on that.
That's pretty good.
This guy says, can't wait for a Ben Steger review. It will be glorious. That has 100. Well, when I refreshed this, it had 183 at the time.
Hmm.
SIG check cleared. I mean, yeah, it's kind of at this
Yeah, there you
point.
go.
It's
Classic.
yeah, it's just at this point they're cooked, bro. Um, wow, a compensated 2011. Never seen that before. So earth shattering. Like, and
I mean, like
go ahead.
people. I mean, there's so much content in the firearms world. It takes a lot to stand out. Um, it, you know, it is what it is. People are going to copy stuff. People are going to, you know, do what's trendy. 2011s are in right now, so every company is going to want to capitalize on that and make it a 2011. I don't inherently fault somebody for doing that, but yes, the thing that's already been done now, another company is doing it. Wow.
It's yeah, and honestly, I think it just opens them up for more issues because it's going to be cheaply made. We know how this story is going to
Mm,
write. This is going to be a Prodigy
yeah.
2.0. This is going to be Springfield Prodigy. It's going to be the laughing stock, is my prediction. It's going to be SIG 211 and the Springfield Prodigy are going to be in the same sentence. And I even anticipate a random notification from Sean Ryan. That's cringe. Um, yeah. I even anticipate it being like the laughing stock again. I anticipate it being a whole nother, like not necessarily P320 failure level, but like safety level of failure, but honestly a quality control level of failure is what I predict for this.
Yeah, I'll just sit back and see. It's definitely SIG's in an interesting spot right now, and I don't have a lot of faith. Now I don't I want to like SIG, but I just can't because of where they're at right now. So
Yeah, it's sad. Let's see. With a trigger that light, the ROF of the gun going off by itself will be unmatched. Pretty sure these dudes have kissed. 119 likes on that, mine included, referring to Max and Cole. Yeah, it looks like they have, right? Allegedly. GBRS still on the SIG payroll despite the fact that SIG still pays the P320 or says the P320 is completely safe. Yeah, it's just not a good look, man. It's not. Man, I wish SIG would just fix the P320, don't we all, and own up to it so I
I
would feel
agree.
okay supporting them again. I really like their products, but they are killing their reputation right now. 59 likes on that. Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I mean, and it's tough. I don't know the business end of things, right? And I think yes, morally, the best thing to do is SIG to acknowledge the issues, issue out an apology, and then unfuck itself. And I think that would be the most morally correct way, and to fix the issue, to address it, and then they could be welcomed back into the community, with open arms after their redemption arc. But until that happens, it's just going to be an uphill battle, and they're just going to keep catching rounds, at every opportunity that anybody gets to send them their way.
And at this point, it's obvious. The writing is literally on the wall. They are the Springfield, like after the last big downfall with Springfield, but on steroids, right? So if they don't do a course correction in some manner, and this is not it, this hype, marketing, this is not going to get people back. If anything, it's going to scare more people off, right? Got you. Your
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
chat just came up on screen.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
anything
Yeah.
that happens right now, it's coming right up. Okay, well we'll read a couple more. We'll get the guys out of here. Let's see. Gave him a little touch this morning. Max and Cole about to give this thing a double header. Whoa.
Whoa. Whoa. Alrighty.
Yeah,
Um, God damn.
I mean, the,
Good for him. I
yeah,
guess you got to mouth feel it. You got to mouth feel it to know. To know if it's for you, you got to mouth feel it.
I mean the comments are all the same, right? It's just that
Yeah.
Goobers is getting crucified, for lack of a better term. SIG. It's funny that I mistakenly said GVRS and SIG, but yeah, they're the same person at this point. But yeah, it's trash. They're all trash in my opinion. If they came out and started advertising for Glock tomorrow, I wouldn't believe them. That's how bad for
Yeah.
me the Goobers reputation is. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are. If you have any closing thoughts on them, but
I don't. I tend to. I look at so. Hold on. We're stumbling over myself here. I tend not to worry about products I don't give a shit about, or about companies that I don't care about, that I'm not going to buy things from, that sort of thing. What, where, and I don't even really give a shit about like the pedigree slash who they're advertising for. I look at what they have offered and how they market it. And to me, the Hydra mount is overpriced. And if they were to say, hey, the Hydra mount's a hyper niche thing that fixes a problem that's only really real on like two guns, then I'd be like, okay, hey, that's cool. It's a very niche thing. They came up with it. It's lighter than a carry handle technically, whatever. Then I'd be like, okay, yeah, I don't hate it. But the fact that they try to market it on a normal AR is respectfully retarded.
yes.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they do it. And that right there tells me as much as I need to know. And all the other drama just falls in line. It's like, wow, way to be surprised. And that right there to me is like, okay, got it. I know everything I need to know. Thank you. Check the box. Now, whatever you do, I don't really care too much about.
Yep,
So
I
that's where I'm at with them.
100% agree. I think they're trying too hard in the wrong way. They're trying too hard to.
And I think, well, I think last thing for it is I think that when you it gives veterans and post SF dudes a bad name and rap when they are trying to market this thing that they've made and they're propping it up on the high speed stuff they did in the past. Yes, thank you for your service. I get you stacked bodies. That's awesome. I respect you for it, et cetera, et cetera. However, don't use that as a way to, put your crappy product on crutches. Just be honest about what you've got going on. Don't use your past pedigree to try to market something that sucks.
Yep. They're trying too hard in the wrong way, and it's at this point it's just cringy. And this video, the crisscross applesauce video, and then this video, and then the AK video. I mean, their channel is a dumpster fire at this point, and the only way to get it back is, to be honest, to stop pushing content that they don't believe in. And
Yeah,
you can see right through it. To literally watch Cole shoot 3 magazines and then do a review is the most
yeah,
disingenuous,
it.
lack of integrity, lack of character. It is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for SIG. It's embarrassing to sit here and talk about it. It's embarrassing for Cole. It's embarrassing for
Mhm.
DJ's channel. And they should do better, right? Not that I'm the end all be all
I
or
agree.
whatever, but they should think about
Mm.
what their image is and what they want it to be. And if they want to be clowns and they want to embarrass their channel and embarrass themselves, then yeah, keep doing a 3 magazine review of a PSA Saber or a freaking AK that you've never fired, and now you're saying it's a good value. Like, it's just bad. It's bad, and it just
Yep.
further solidifies that there's a difference between I don't know. There's a difference between real reviews and just shillery, I guess is the best way to put it. So,
Yeah, yeah, it's marketing between real reviews, and I understand that people gotta make money, whatever. But when you start doing it in a dishonest way or a misleading way, it sucks. And I get that being honest sometimes doesn't make money, but I guess the clowning on will continue until integrity improves. So
yep, 100%. But okay, well, that was a lot of that was a lot. That was good. I think that was a good discussion regarding
hmm
SIG,
that's
regarding
fun.
the Goobers, the RXM, some Springfield trash in there that we talked about, and whatever else, and some training.
Yep.
I guess TTPs that we kind of hit on and SOPs. But what do you got going
hmm
on? What plug your channel, plug all the things. Tell them to hit the like
Oh
button,
yeah,
all the stuff.
yeah. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get Trench Grenade's channel to be the hugest channel
It's
on
so
YouTube.
big.
Um, So big, so huge. But yeah, we are, as I had mentioned, Bones Maloney of the Bones Maloney channel. We make mostly educational, trying to be funny content about firearm stuff and or training and field gear. I try to preface and predicate myself on things I know and stuff that I've identified within the training community, within the firearms market that isn't talked about. And I stay away from things I don't know about, don't care about, or don't have enough experience to talk about. So we push out good information there. I've got videos coming up on PCCs and where they fit into my headspace as a Minuteman. And I know Trench and I are probably going to be live again soon to talk about the civilian IAR concept. And eventually we're going to tackle the term recce and why I think the term recce rifle is overused and kind of stupid.
Yeah. And to let everyone chat, if you got this far in the video, we're gonna go live with Protraband. Maybe not tomorrow. We'll see. I'll gauge the group chat after this, and we'll see how everyone's feeling about doing another live tomorrow. Maybe we'll send it again. But yeah, we have it. Like, the thing about I think the thing to just, we're always going to be real with you guys. You guys know Protraband, right?
Mhm.
And obviously Bones now and myself. We're going to be real whether it's popular or not. So yeah, we have the Recce stuff coming up. We have the IAR. And yeah, I think we'll maybe not promise regular streams, but we'll definitely try to do more content, right? Just sit downs and have discussions like this. But yeah, I think it was good. If you got this far in the video, guys, go follow Bones. Join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. It's what funds this channel, as I have no former sponsorships, right? Also gets you access to the Discord server where you can chat with Bones and I and talk about all the latest, greatest things anyway in a private Discord server. So do all that on Patreon. If you don't want to do anything else, hit the like button. because that concept really does. I mean, just hitting the like button, it sounds so cringy for YouTubers to say it, but now I understand because it does help defeat the algorithm and all that. But without further ado, this is going to be Trench Grenade and Bones, the one quart canteen enjoyers that your mom says that we have at home, signing out. First strike bar verified, even though they're disgusting.